77 WABC and Bergen Newbridge Medical Center honor the life of legendary broadcaster and our friend, Ernie Anastas.
Hi, it's Ernie Anastas. You know, your thoughts can affect how you feel. Bergen Newbridge Medical Center is the largest hospital in New Jersey, providing comprehensive, equitable, compassionate, and high-quality emergency inpatient and outpatient medical care, plus mental health services and substance use disorder treatment. The Bergen Newbridge team can address your total health needs in one convenient location. Call 201-225-7130 for an appointment or newbridgehealth.org.
He's at war with woke.
Joe Concha
thinks liberals are a joke.
Joe Concha.
This is the Joe Concha Show, weekday edition, sponsored by the Tunnel to Towers Foundation. Here's Joe Concha.
And welcome, everybody, on this Wednesday night. Tuesday night, we had Barack Obama go to his BFF, Stephen Colbert. And actually, it was the other way around. Colbert went to Chicago this is the opening month of Barack Obama's presidential library. A presidential library that was supposed to cost somewhere around $300 million, which is already obnoxiously expensive. Instead, this thing, because it's Obama, costs a lot more than he originally said it would. $850 million for a friggin' library. And this thing, if you've seen pictures of it, is one of the ugliest sculptures you will ever see. It is just a complete and total eyesore. But $850 million for a mediocre presidency, and I'm being very generous with that, because when you think about it, didn't do anything to stop Iran. Russia marched right into Crimea. We had unemployment that was hovering above 8% for his first 4 years, and he still just blamed Bush like all the way through. I inherited a mess. Well, it's 5 years later, dude. The GDP was sluggish, and Obamacare, if you like your doctor, you can keep your doctor. Oh, it's going to bring health premiums and health insurance costs down. Nope. They've only more than doubled since that boondoggle was incorporated into, basically took over 1/7 of our economic system. And now once you give somebody an entitlement like Obamacare, it's hard to take back. So I guess we're somewhat stuck with this for now. Anyway, so there goes Colbert. Colbert's on his goodbye tour. You'd think it's like Michael Jordan during his final season. I mean, again, Johnny Carson, 1993, when he went off the air, on his last broadcast, 55 million people tuned in. 55 million. Think about that number for a second. And then if Colbert gets even 5 million, I'll be shocked, like 1/10 of that for his final show. And I think it's about 2 weeks from now. So, of course, it's back and forth. Colbert and Obama talking about how, hey, we really, really got to save democracy from Trump. Yeah, democracy in their world, especially Colbert's, is only talking to people that you absolutely agree with. He has not had on one Republican in 4 years. Oh, yeah, that's right. He had one, Liz Cheney, who campaigned with Kamala Harris, so it doesn't exactly count. Otherwise, according to the Media Research Center, more than 200 Democrat politicians in 4 years. And I'm not even talking about then other liberals and activists and so on. So the show is just, it's the same joke every night. And it stopped being funny a long time ago, if it was ever. Anyway, here's Obama saying, hey, you know, Stephen Colbert, you should run for president because you probably can do better than Trump. No, really? He said it. Cut number 8. Go.
All right. I'm looking for a new gig soon.
Uh-huh.
And a lot of people tell me I should run for president.
Oh, well, you certainly have the look.
Thank you very much.
You have the hair.
Well, for the record, I think it's a stupid idea. How dumb do you think it is for people to say that I should run for president?
Well, you know, the bar has changed.
That is true. At times subterranean.
So
I don't have to limbo so low.
Let me put it this way. I think that you could perform significantly better than some folks that we've seen.
All right.
Yeah. I have great confidence in that.
Thank you very much.
Yeah.
Now, what was weird about this whole conversation was it was recorded in Chicago in a quiet library, but then they played it for the studio audience back in New York. That's why it's kind of awkward, where they didn't stop when the crowd was laughing because they didn't realize, I guess, there'd be a studio audience or reacting to certain things that weren't even funny. Yeah. It's funny when you have Obama saying, oh, you could be president, and the bar is set awfully low, given what we have. He didn't say Trump, but obviously he meant Trump. Yeah. At the very, very top of Barack Obama's resume when he ran for president was community organizer. Like that was like the one job sort of, I guess, he had before he somehow became president. So maybe take 2 seats on that one as far as talking about experience or being able to do well. And Barack Obama should realize that the reason why we have Donald Trump as president is because of 8 years of Barack Obama and people begging for change. And the fact that he doesn't quite get that yet is truly remarkable. Meanwhile, this is very interesting. Obama, without a hint of irony or self-awareness, says, the Department of Justice, like it was under me, really, really shouldn't be weaponized. This is cut number 10. Go.
The White House shouldn't be able to direct the Attorney General to go around prosecuting whoever the president wants to prosecute.
Right, because technically it's under the executive branch.
Technically,
the norm is that it's independent.
The idea is that the Attorney General is the people's lawyer. It's not the president's consigliere.
My dude, you do realize that your own Attorney General in Eric Holder literally called you his wingman in an interview. And the weaponization of the Justice Department, whether you're talking about against the IRS, by the IRS, against conservatives, whether we're talking about President Trump, obviously being spied on during the 2016 campaign, the fact that the Obama administration under Holder literally spied on James Rosen, who was with Fox News at the time, called him a flight risk, even spied on his parents, and then Holder kind of apologized for that. They seized secretly phone records from the Associated Press, and they rejected more FOIA or Freedom of Information Act requests than any administration in history. So please do not ever talk about how the DOJ shouldn't be weaponized when Obama is the godfather of that particular strategy. Also, Obama is a really, really big fan of New York Mayor Zohran Mamdani. Of course he is. They're cut from the same cloth. All foam and no beer, all sizzle and no steak. So, of course, Obama likes him because, hey, the guy's pretty good on social media. He could do a good speech. Forget the fact that, New York is heading to bankruptcy right now, and Mamdani is breaking every campaign promise, and he's now going to raise taxes on property taxes, which, again, I didn't think it was humanly possible, but there you go. So here's Obama on Mamdani, who he thinks is very, very talented. Cut number 11, go.
You look at somebody like Mamdani, who I think is an extraordinary talent. He wants people to be able to afford housing in New York. Well, I would assume liberals in New York want the same thing.
Yeah, dude, but at the same time, how's he going to do it? Oh, yeah, we want things less affordable. Yeah, that's a real epiphany right there. Well, that's a great campaign slogan. How do you do it? That's the question. Do you freeze rents? Because I'm pretty sure that doesn't bring down the cost of anything. Or opening up a couple of food stores at $30 million a pop? That doesn't make things more affordable outside of maybe for a handful of people, even if the food ends up being cheaper, which as we've seen from the Soviet Union to Cuba to Venezuela simply does not happen. And again, property taxes going up, that's not good either as far as making things more affordable. But it doesn't matter because, hey, this guy's got talent. And boy, he could do things on social media that, boy, you only have to admire, according to Barack Obama. Meanwhile, let's flash back, shall we? Because that's the type of conversation that you see on late night, and you see why so few people are tuning in at this point, and how and why Colbert is losing $40 million a year for CBS. It costs $1 million per episode just to produce one of Colbert's shows because he has 200 staffers. 200. Can you imagine that? What do you need 200 staffers for when it's two people talking to each other? That's basically it. It's a monologue and then a bunch of interviews. You could do that. Look at Jimmy Fallon, Greg Gutfeld on Fox with, 5, 6 people. So, yeah, it cost $1 million. And that's why he's going off the air. Not because Trump is trying to squash free speech, But these are the conversations we used to hear on late night. This is Rickles and Sinatra on Carson, and this is actually funny. Cut number 19, go.
Hey, Frank, it's good to see you. I just was hanging around in the hall, and they said Frank Sinatra's here, and I've never met him, you know. And I get the chill.
You'll excuse us, won't you?
Certainly. Marco Mangananzo was hurt.
Marco Mangananzo.
Trombino Bombazzo. 2 bullets in the head Thursday.
Oh.
Now this you don't believe. Excuse us, Johnny. You're from the Midwest. You're busy going, is the truck loaded? Guido says hi. He hasn't had a chance to talk to you. And from Jersey City, your good friend, Bubani Umbatsa.
What's his name?
He started his car with your album on, and now he's a highway.
See, that's great. And instead we have former presidents going on with Colbert saying, you know, you probably could make a good president. Well, Colbert, by the way, would have to leave his safe space, and he won't have 200 staffers writing his material. He would actually have to maybe debate people on things. He probably, there's a chance he'll run because he's a narcissist and wants the attention. But that's the comparison between what late night is now and what it used to be. And boy, that's why they had 10 times the audience way back when, in the 90s, not too far way back when. Anyway, this is Joe Concha. This is Concha at Night. Back with so much more in just a moment.
This is the Joe Concha Show, weekday edition.
Joe Concha.
Sponsored by the Tunnel to Towers Foundation. This is the Joe Concha Show, weekday edition, sponsored by the Tunnel to Towers Foundation. Here's Joe Concha.
Yeah, welcome back, everybody. So, I came across this video, and it's one of the best imitations that I've seen of any public figure. Not somebody I ever heard of before. Amy Kozak. Amy, A-M-I, so not, this is a guy. I didn't realize that was an androgynous name, but go figure. And here he is. He plays both roles as the interviewer. In this case, he's Lulu Garcia Navarro from the New York Times. And across the table, he's also dressed as Tucker Carlson. So, again, we talked about this earlier in the week, the train wreck of an interview that Tucker did with the New York Times, where literally they would show him saying things, and then he would deny saying them. Like when he called Trump the Antichrist, he said, those words never left my lips, and I did not say that. Then they'd play the tape of him saying it, and then he would still kind of play ignorant. Like, well, no, I don't think I said that. I don't know what Antichrist means. And just things did not play well. Said that Benjamin Netanyahu was holding Trump hostage as far as forcing Trump into war with Iran. Also said that Trump has the ability to cast spells and he has supernatural powers. I could go down the line in terms of some of the crazy things that Tucker said, but overall, you know, it didn't go well. And the backlash online from most quarters is pretty bad. But this is something that encapsulates this interview perfectly. This is cut number 6. Go.
I want to talk about your relationship with the president and where it stands currently. When was the last time you were in the Oval Office?
It was a few months ago. I went to the Oval Office. I had gone several times, actually, like a lot.
And what did you see when you were there?
You know, everybody knows this, but I'll just confirm it. Like, Bibi had been in there before me, and he probably had a gun to Trump's head.
Really?
Like an actual gun, like a loaded weapon.
You're saying Benjamin Netanyahu had a gun to his head?
And he had Donald Trump in a chokehold, and I know that Donald Trump had a wrestling background. He was involved at one point in the WWE, but clearly that didn't matter, like at all. And Bibi had a gun to his head and said, "We're going to Iran. We're doing this." And Trump was like, "No."
And you saw this with your own eyes?
I mean, Washington insiders know this. They know this.
Wait, so this happened or didn't happen?
I mean, I wasn't in the room, but I imagine it was something like that was going on. I mean, you don't go to Washington multiple times without trying to influence the president for your agenda.
But you went. I'm sorry, I'm confused. Okay, well, what is your assessment of President Trump currently?
Well, I attempted to communicate with the president. I went outside into the forest and I screamed. Don't do it! I don't know if that was effective. I don't know if he heard. I don't know if he could hear me, but I certainly tried to do that. I did.
Oh, I mean, how good is that? I mean, that is just spot on. And the answers that the real Tucker gave weren't too much different from this actual invitation. Oh, and we got more. Yeah, this is also, I mean, if you're driving, you may have to pull over. It's that funny. Cut number 13, go.
What you're saying is you literally believe President Donald Trump might be Gandalf from Lord of the Rings?
I don't know, but we should be able to ask those questions, I think.
Okay, moving on. What is your current relationship with Turning Point USA?
Well, like, I've always loved TPUSA. I've loved the organization. I've headlined many times. They didn't ask me to do it this year, and so that is what it is. But I've always participated in their events. I've never charged anything, by the way. I've always done it for free, and they always paid me a lot. So I
and do you think TPUSA as an organization is in decline?
I haven't the faintest idea, but yes. I just have questions, like legitimate questions. And the moment you ask questions, socialist, communist, anti-Semite, no. I just have legitimate questions, like what happened on Charlie Kirk? Should capital be taxed at half the rate of labor? What's Bibi Netanyahu's father's middle name? Or if a demon rapes you without protection, should you get checked for STDs? Well, it's 'cause it's itchy.
I mean, the laugh. There's like 10 more minutes of that. Maybe we'll play a couple more clips tomorrow night, but it's just that good. And again, I have a story up today, Washington Examiner column, asking a very basic question that many people seem to be asking me when I'm on the road lately. And I can't answer it because I haven't seen Tucker in years. But what happened to Tucker Carlson, where he is aligning now with the left? I understand the opposition to the Iran war. And if he stuck to that, instead of going down all these crazy paths, especially when it comes to Charlie Kirk, where he's just like Candace Owens, questioning the FBI investigation, thinks that maybe they don't have the right person in custody, thinks that Israel and the Jews help orchestrate his execution. I mean, just some really crazy stuff, and there's no other way to put it.
This is the Joe Concha Show, weekday edition.
Joe Concha.
Sponsored by the Tunnel to Towers Foundation. This is the Joe Concha Show, weekday edition, sponsored by the Tunnel to Towers Foundation. Here's Joe Concha.
Yeah, welcome back, everybody. So, I was supposed to be on Fox twice today. No, 3 times. That's right. I was on at 5:30 in the morning. The day starts so early, it feels like another day. But in the 2 o'clock hour, I was supposed to join John Roberts, Sandra Smith, to talk about Marco Rubio taking over for Caroline Leavitt as the press secretary yesterday, because this guy doesn't have enough jobs. And right before I was about to go on, like literally like 30 seconds beforehand, Trump decided that he wanted to do, the president, an announcement around the UFC fights, I should say, that's going to happen on the South Lawn and at the mall in Washington. The mall's basically right behind the White House. And it just, they're expecting like 100,000 people for this, about 4,000 on the South Lawn, the grounds there. But he had a bunch of MMA fighters in there, UFC fighters, and you never saw a guy so happy. Like, if you ask him his favorite sport, you would think it's golf. You know, football. He did own the New Jersey Generals at one point. I loved that team, by the way. Doug Flutie, Herschel Walker, Maurice Carthon. Great uniforms, 50,000 people, giant stadium. It was fun. But I think in the end, I think it's fighting. He was at the Tyson fight. This was on a couple nights ago. Tyson Buster Douglas in Tokyo, February of 1990, I want to say. And there's Trump. You see him like in the second row, like next to like Don King or something. It's like, okay. So the guy truly loves sports, and no one has taken advantage of the presidency in terms of attending big sporting events because he knows it's a big audience. And it just makes him so relatable, obviously. He drove the beast around the Daytona 500. He was the first president to ever go to a Super Bowl, which I found remarkable. We've had more than like 55, almost 60 of these things, and no president. The Gipper didn't think to go. I don't know. I'm trying to think. Obama was not in office when the Bears last went to the Super Bowl. They went in 2008, but he hadn't. That was during that election year, or else you would think that he would probably go. Bill Clinton was a sports fan, I believe. The Bushes were. George W. Bush owned a baseball team. I just found that odd that Trump was the first one to do that, but it's also smart at the same time. And now, obviously, June 14th, that's when all these fights are going to go on. It's going to be quite the spectacle. And that's when the whole 250 celebration of America kicks off. And you're going to have the ball dropped in Times Square to celebrate that on July 4th. You got these UFC fights, and then the World Cup will be here as well. United States, Canada, Mexico, locally here, at least if you're listening on WABC, MetLife Stadium, about 15 minutes from me, in New Jersey. They'll have the final there as well. So it's going to be like a great summer and an optimistic summer, not all this doom and gloom like we saw in New York last night where you had all these people. You think you were looking at, Benghazi. With all these police being attacked by these guys and headscarves and free Palestine and genocide and all this. And, Memdani just kind of shrugs. You don't really hear anything from him condemning this stuff because he probably supports it. Anyway, getting back to Marco Rubio for a moment. Boy, he's good. He's very, very good. And I like J.D. Vance a lot. But as I said in the show, if you had to make the choice, and I did this down in West Palm Beach and in Springfield, Illinois, I had 2 speeches last week in those respective places. I did straw polls of the crowd. Crowd in West Palm was probably about 700-800 people. And I would say Marco won that straw poll against J.D. Vance like 80-20 in terms of who they would prefer to be at the top of the ticket in 2028. In Springfield, Illinois, red town, not as red as West Palm, southern Illinois. So it's basically farm country down there. And that was more like 60-40 Marco. But there's a lot of momentum behind this guy at this point. And then you see him during this press briefing yesterday. And this is off the cuff. This isn't a written, statement where he's reading in a teleprompter. But this is his hopes for America's next 250 years and what he'd like to see. What does he think of our country right now in this moment? And this is presidential stuff right here, guys. Cut number 1, go.
For America at a time such as this.
My hope for America?
And how do you personally deal with that?
Yeah, look, my hope for America is what it's always been. I think it's the hope I hope we all share. We want it to continue to be the place where anyone from anywhere can achieve anything, where you're not limited by the circumstances of your birth, by the color of your skin, by your ethnicity, but frankly, it's a place where you are able to overcome challenges and achieve your full potential. I think that should be the goal of every country in the world, frankly. But I think in the U.S., we're not perfect. Our history is not one of perfection, but it's still better than anybody else's history. And ours is a story of perpetual improvement. Each generation has left the next generation of Americans freer, more prosperous, safer, and that is our goal as well. But it is a unique and exceptional country, and as we come upon this 250-year anniversary, I think we have a lot to learn and be proud of in our history. It is one of perpetual and continuous improvement, where each generation has done its part to bring us closer to fulfilling the vision that the founders of this country had upon its founding. So,
wow, that's off the cuff. That's perfection right there. Imagine him on a debate stage with Kamala Harris for a moment. It would be Tyson Spinks. We want to go back to Tyson again. 91 seconds, TKO, rhetorically anyway, over. Even Gavin Newsom would look so phony next to this guy, who's very much the real deal. And again, this is not a knock on J.D. Vance. An incredible story, doing a great job as vice president. But if you were to put one against the other, I just think Marco Rubio has more crossover appeal. Again, this is 2028. We're only in May of 2026. Long way to go. But he seems to have the momentum right now, and he's showing that there's no job, no challenge he won't embrace and handle effortlessly. I mean, to quote the great late Stuart Scott, he's as cool as the other side of the pillow. And over the weekend, he DJ'd a family wedding. I DJ'd in college. It ain't easy. And there he was behind, the turntable, just doing the thing. And then during the press briefing yesterday, he actually quoted Cypress Hill, which Marco and I are the same age. So, yeah, I totally get it. That's like hip hop rap, like 1993. When he made a warning to Iran's leaders saying that they're insane in the brain, insane in the membrane. Maybe we could find that, Kev. We'll go out with that so people can be familiarize themselves with 1993 hip hop. And then he quotes Ice Cube as well, where he said to the Iranian leadership, check yourself before you wreck yourself. Yes, it rhymes. See, kind of. So the point is that the guy could be funny and the guy could do a mini speech like that off the cuff. and obviously has the resume. He has the look. And again, he does not get enough credit for this. He did marry a Miami Dolphins cheerleader, and that deserves major points. Anyway, here is the Secretary of State trying to navigate the White House press briefing, which, if you've ever been in that room, and I have, it's not big at all. I mean, it used to be an indoor swimming pool or something, but it looks bigger on TV, but boy, it's cramped. And yesterday, because Rubio was running the press briefing, it talked about standing room only, and he's trying to navigate like who to call upon. He doesn't know who half the reporters are because he's not there every day. And this is kind of funny the way this went. Cut number 14, go.
Right there in the green. I'll get to you. Are you guys all the TV people?
Yeah. No.
All right, go ahead. I'm sorry. Go. I'm learning. They gave me a little map. I don't know where I put it of the people here. Some of you had like red X's. I'm kidding. No, that's not true. Go ahead.
Red X's. Don't call him that person. So anyway, long way to go. But either way, whether it's JD and Marco or Marco and somebody else or Marco and JD, because JD can be vice president for another 4 years. I don't know. Just saying. That would be one hell of a ticket. Meanwhile, on the other side of the coin, we have the absolutely deplorable Nick Fuentes. This guy openly loves Hitler, and apparently he's on the right. And I think the downfall of Tucker Carlson began when he decided to interview this guy and not challenge him on any of his anti-Semitic views. Fuentes was with my friend Piers Morgan last night on his show, and here he's talking about how, loves Hitler, totally unapologetic for saying he loves Hitler, but also tries to make the claim that somehow, despite all this, he's not anti-Semitic. Yeah, cut number 12, go.
You think Hitler was very cool?
Yes, I do.
One of them,
and I'm tired of pretending he's not.
Well,
to be honest,
this is the problem, you see. It's a bit like when you just say, I'm a racist. You're a racist, you think Hitler's cool, but you're not anti-Semitic. If you're a Jewish person watching this, what are they thinking?
Yeah, what are they thinking, I wonder? Because Hitler exterminated more than 5 million Jews, and you love the guy for that? I think Piers is great, but I think we can't give people like this platforms anymore. You can say, well, you're exposing him. No, he is saying these things because they're crazy enough to get him back on the air somewhere else. And I guess it keeps him relevant. And now he's declared that he hates Trump, and now he's a Democrat, of course. So actually, he'll fit right in with the party, considering the direction that it is going in. Meanwhile, Candace Owens, who is also part of this crazy camp at this point, again, so much potential just a couple of years ago. And now, for the last 8 months, she's been attacking Erica Kirk, the widow of Charlie Kirk, of course, now a single mom of 2 very young children after their father was taken from them at Utah Valley University on September 10th. Candace now is playing the victim. In other words, she accuses Erica Kirk of having a hand in her own husband's murder. And now, since some people like Erica are firing back because you can only take that for so long, she now apparently is the victim. Candace is. Cut number 7, go.
And trying to go solo. And simultaneously, they're still running this game of trying to get the press to go after me, to go after my family. So when I say it has been a nonstop onslaught against my life, this is what I mean. And I do think it's time for us to share the documents so people can actually read the documents of what my family has lived through, because I feel like I should be doing a series like Surviving the Daily Wire. People don't understand what it's been like, and we have never played dirty back with them. We have everything they ever put together was a conspiracy theory in their own head. We don't play that way. We have genuinely, and I partially think that's the reason why we've been protected by them, and why conclusions like even the Brett thing happening, which they thought was a big...
I can't, my hair hurts listening to this person. Candace, maybe stop accusing innocent people of killing their husband. How does that sound? She even mocked Erica Kirk after the shooting at the White House Correspondents' Dinner, where Erica Kirk was obviously pretty traumatized, I would imagine. And she said, I just want to go home. And Candace Owens mocked her for that, said she was trying to make herself the story. It's a sick person. Maybe I should stop playing her on the show as well. It's just not worth it. This is a crazy person who needs serious help. And now she's the victim. Okay. Oh, hopefully California is not a victim of Katie Porter. This is the girl, if you remember, she was doing some sort of video and some poor intern or staffer just accidentally walked. This was in her home, walked through the kitchen, and she said, "Get out of my effing shot!" And she just looks as mean as she sounds. And, she also apparently is divorced from her husband, and at one point dumped scalding hot mashed potatoes on his head, sending him to the hospital. This is not a good person. And that's why probably she's polling in the single digits in California after many thought that she would be the favorite. Steve Hilton is leading out there, my former colleague at Fox. Who isn't my former colleague at Fox that's now either working for Trump or running for some sort of office? I mean, it gets me more airtime. There's not too many of us left, it feels like, at this point. My friend Nicole Sapphire is going to become Surgeon General, which is awesome on many levels. She's been saving lives for years at Sloan Kettering, cancer patients. So good for her, a genuinely good person. But anyway, before I go off on a tangent, here is Steve Hilton. This is a master class in terms of explaining legal immigration versus illegal immigration. As I've talked about on the show, Democrats and the media do this all the time. They conflate those who are here illegally with legally. And no, that's not how this is supposed to work. But Hilton, again, more eloquent because he's British, says it much better than I can right now. Cut number 4, go.
Mr. Hilton, right now, President Trump is enacting a policy of mass deportation. As you know, roughly half of California farm workers, which are an essential part of this state's economy, are undocumented. As governor, would you push to deport them?
So I'm the only immigrant on stage. I'm a legal immigrant, and Americans support immigration when it is properly controlled. And what we saw under the Biden administration, open borders, undermined everybody's support for immigration. And as governor, I've made it very clear, although it is the federal government's responsibility to determine and implement immigration policy, I think it's important that all the laws are peacefully enforced. And as governor, I would make sure that we work with the federal government to enforce our laws.
Yeah, perfect answer. He'll get to the general, I think. It'll be him and probably a Democrat, hopefully Chad Bianco. That would be irony if 2 Republicans end up surviving the jungle primary. But I think he's got a shot. I really do. I know California's blue, but it's been run so poorly. And when you see like a Karen Bass at 25% approval in California and Gavin Newsom well below 50% as far as approval, there's opportunity there. And Steve Hilton has crossover appeal. And I think that he'll make this a fight. Probably still the underdog, but he'll definitely make it a fight. Anyway, this is Joe Concha. This is Concha at Night. We wrap this puppy up in just a moment. Hey.
This is the Joe Concha Show, weekday edition.
Joe Concha.
Sponsored by the Tunnel to Towers Foundation. This is the Joe Concha Show, weekday edition, sponsored by the Tunnel to Towers Foundation. Here's Joe Concha.
And welcome back, everybody. So you probably heard by now this U.S. Judge Zia Faruqui, if I'm pronouncing that correctly, publicly apologizing to Cole Thomas Allen. That was the 31-year-old California man who tried to assassinate President Trump at the 2026 White House Correspondents' Dinner, and possibly members of his cabinet and everybody else in that room as well. Cole Allen shot a Secret Service agent, fortunately was wearing a vest, and he survived. But for whatever reason, the judge felt that Cole Allen wasn't treated very well and said, quote, "I am very troubled by what they indicate the conditions that you have been subjected to. I'm sorry. It sounds like things have not been the way they're supposed to." Screw you, dude. This guy's lucky to be breathing air at this point. And we're apologizing to assassins of the president? What more can I say except Greg Gutfeld had some thoughts on this on the 5, and this is what he had to say. Cut 15, go.
Judge apologized not once, but 3 times. 3 times. I bet he's never apologized once to a victim. He's a bow tie douchebag. What is it with bow ties? He says jail limited this guy's freedom. It's called jail. What do you expect? Relay races and face painting, you moron? I think this is more about the acceptance and admiration of political violence on the left. And before you say both sides, Harold, I want to point out the data is clear. It's in the polling. People on the left just will believe political violence is justified much more than people on the right.
I saw one poll recently where 55% of those who say they are Democrats or leaning Democrats believed it would be, quote, somewhat justified, unquote, if Donald Trump was murdered. So yeah, Gutfeld is right about that. This rhetoric, this whole permission slip to violence, this assassination culture comes far more from the left than the right. And we know this because people keep trying to kill Donald Trump. And then when, in this case, the person is caught, we have judges apologizing for the conditions while they're being held. 3 times apologized. And, oh, well, yeah, he didn't have a lot of freedom of movement. Okay, tough. And he won't. I don't want to hear about another John Hinckley situation where Hinckley shot Reagan, nearly killed him, and now he's out. I'm sorry, you try to kill a president, you're done. That's it. There is no parole. There is no good behavior or any sort of mental sort of plea that says, "Oh, I was crazy, didn't mean to do it." All right. Anyway, Alan Dershowitz, not crazy, not happy with Bernie Sanders one bit, and Dershowitz recently declared that he is no longer a Democrat, that he supports Republicans, wants to see them hold the Senate, hold the House, and whoever runs in 2028 on the Republican side, whether that be J.D. Vance or Marco Rubio, that person wins. So Dershowitz doing a complete 180, and one Jew to another, going off on Bernie here. My goodness, cut 16, go.
Bernie Sanders, who is the most anti-Semitic senator in modern history, is Jewish.
Oh,
let's never forget that thousands, not tens of thousands of Jews voted for Adolf Hitler in the 1932 election in Germany, and Bernie Sanders would have voted for Stalin. I have no doubt about that. He would have supported Pol Pot in his genocide against the people of Cambodia. He surely would have supported Castro in his attempted genocide against the people of Cuba. He's an evil man. And yet he's the face. He now claims to be the leader of the Democratic Party.
Yeah,
he said, "Look, I got 40 votes against Israel, and Schumer only got 7 votes."
He is quite anti-Israel, isn't Bernie? And yeah, everybody thinks he's kind of lovable, and he's got the voice, and the richest 1% have to pay their fair share. Yeah, but Bernie Sanders, again, goes off on capitalism, and all I know is the guy has not 1, not 2, but 3 houses and flies private to his Fight the Oligarchy tour events along with AOC. So, yeah, complete phony. Another phony, Fred Flintstone out in Illinois, otherwise known as J.B. Pritzker, now claiming that President Trump not only is a Nazi, but also is a Nazi with apparently dementia. This is cut number 17. Go.
I think the man has dementia. Someone who's suffering from dementia, I mean, they genuinely need help. And there's no one around him who wants to help him. All those people are just sycophants.
Yeah, okay. Speaking of sycophants, here is Pritzker in 2024, when it was so apparent that Joe Biden's brain had turned to mashed potatoes, had a different view or different prognosis on the 46th president as opposed to what he just said about the 47th. Cut number 18, go.
I thought it was extremely unfair for he was a Trump appointee originally to the Department of Justice, to offer his own opinions about the mental acuity or age of the President of the United States. I've been with the President of the United States many times. He is on the ball. The man knows more than most of us have forgotten.
So Trump has dementia, the hardest working president we have seen in modern history. And Biden was actually sharp when almost everybody knew that he wasn't. J.B. Pritzker will not be your Democratic nominee. That is certainly for certain. Anyway, wow, we're out of time already. This is Joe Concha. This has been Concha at Night. We're back tomorrow night, 9 p.m. Eastern Time on WABC and on stations around the country. Until then, 2 words for you. Bye-bye.